Hi, and welcome back again. I hope you got the 5B assignment and the lesson on recursion, and we're able to understand that. It's a pretty tricky concept, so if you struggle with it, definitely do have a look at those solutions down there that I've posted. Um, but it's really valuable and useful to kind of tie in this idea of how functions work. And for this little mini lesson, it's actually I want to cover something we would have looked back at in chapter 3, working with functions, and a concept that I didn't really cover too much, but I want to ensure we do now because it's another reason why recursion can lead to some problems and why we want to learn what we're going to do in our next lesson, which is what we call iteration. So just scrolling down here, something we might have skipped over, this one, 3.8, this idea of variables and parameters are local. So this is a really powerful idea, an important one to know, and why if we're using iteration and if we're using recursion with functions and we're not doing it properly, we can run into some real problems. So I want to look very quickly at this whole idea of variables and parameters are local, something we call scope. Um, and you'll see, I think the best way to explain it is to show you. So the idea here is that inside of a function, any variables or arguments that we create inside the function are local to that function. They stay there and they're not allowed to interact with the rest of the world, essentially. So I said best way to do it is this. So I'm going to just create, I'm not in a function right now. Um, but I'm going to create a new function. I'm going to define test. And test is going to take a value of x. Um, and I'm going to say here, just a weird thing, I'm just going to say y equals x times 2. So I'm going to create a new variable here inside the function. Notice we're inside this function. And then I'm going to print y. Might be a silly thing to do for a function, but you'll see why it's really important. So now I've made this function. Function test is going to take the argument x, it's going to create a new variable called y and make it 2 times x, and then it's going to print it out. Now, what I'm going to do though is my program's just getting ready to start. I'm actually going to make a variable called y, and I'm going to have y equal to 5. All right, now I'm going to call this function, and I'm going to just say test, and I'm going to pass it the number 10. Oh, not text, sorry, test, and the number 10. There we go. And you see what happens is I sent 10 to test. Test takes it, it becomes x. It now makes a new variable, or it makes this variable y, and makes it 2 times 10, so that should be 20, and then it prints out 20. So one would think that if I printed y now, again, I should get the number 20. Oh, but I do not. I get the number 5, which is what I did way back here. And let's say bring up a little paint here just to show you what's going on here. So I have made y equal to 5. I have then called this function called test and passed it the number 10. So the idea of a function, remember, is it goes off to the side. It's also known as a subroutine. And it creates a little box in memory where it does all of its stuff. And so in came this number 10, and it said, okay, x is equal to 10, and then it said y is equal to 2 times 10, and then it printed out, in this case, 20, and then it got to the end of the function. Boom, we're done. So this box is like a little walled empire here. Nothing goes in, nothing comes out except for that what we pass the arguments. So it now, when it's done, gets destroyed and is just poof into non-existence. It's gone. The computer's forgotten about it. It doesn't care anymore. Anything that happened in here is gone. And we now go back to the main program. So notice that y here is actually different than this y here. This world has been destroyed. It's no longer gone. So the only thing the computer remembers is what I did previously here, which is set y. So when I now say print y, it doesn't know that any of this happened. It just goes back to, oh, y is 5. And in fact, if I were to, I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to close my Python, open it up again, make sure it's completely gone from memory. There we go. Now, let's say I was going to go test 10 again. It comes out 20. If I just try and say y, or print y, it actually gives me an error. And notice it says the name y is not defined, because nowhere in my program, other than in that little function there, which is blipped out of existence, have I told the computer what y is. So it made y, it then forgot printed it out, and then forgot what y was. So this is this idea of variables and arguments created inside of a function are local. That means they only exist inside them. And if by chance you make two variables that have the same name inside and outside of the function, you need to be careful because they are not the same thing. Now, we can create what are called return values, which in your textbook they call them fruitful functions. So I could have said something like, let me paste that here, and I'm going to now return, not rerun, return y. And that's what my function is going to do. And this idea here of a return value is kind of like a baton in a relay race. So the x, when I call the function, it's like I pass the baton to the test function. So it goes in, the baton comes in here. It now can get passed around, bent, changed color, done whatever you want as we're running along. And normally, poof, it goes out of existence. In this case, by saying at the end, return y, it's like I'm passing the baton back to the program. Now, you got to be careful because it doesn't mean, so if I said here y equals 5, and then I said test 10, like again, it doesn't mean it changes the main y here. So if I still say y, notice it's 5, but notice I got these two 20s because it printed out 20 and then it returned it, which means it sent it back to the main program, and the main program didn't know what to do with it, so it just said, okay, I'm going to spit out what the return value was. However, if I were to now say something like y equals test 10, now it's going to print out the 20, and that comes from there, but it's also going to take the return value, this test 10, the function becomes the return value. So it then sends it and puts it into y. So if I now print out y again, it is now changed and updated it. Now, I wouldn't worry too much about the fruitful functions. Just know that they exist and that you can do this return value. It's a very powerful idea. The thing I really want you to remember, though, is that arguments and parameters and variables are local to a function. So once they're inside the function, they stay inside the function. They do not come outside unless we return them, and they don't affect things that are in the main program, unless we later on get into something called globals, but let's ignore that for now. Anyway, no assignment here, just want to make sure you understand that concept, and you can see why, if we are doing weird things with recursive function calls, especially if we had multiple different variables that we may, and then we've got these functions calling functions calling functions, like we saw. If we're changing a value here in this function and expecting it's going to be changing back here or even changing back in the main program, it's not. It's going to get destroyed as soon as that function finishes and goes back. So we can run into some problems there. So no assignment, just want you to understand that concept. Before we move on to iteration, which is actually, I think, a lot easier than the recursive function calls in order to make things happen again and again.